6th, 2021, and I am heading east out of Quinter, Kansas. Basically, today we've got a big day. We've got huge photographs. We've got this little trough exiting from Colorado this afternoon, and the SBC's actually got a 15% hatch out for tornadoes, which means that they're expecting violent tornadoes today. So I am about 30 minutes from intercepting a storm near Ellis, Kansas. It kind of went up and it was on my radar, watching it, so I stopped to get gas, get everything ready, and about 10 minutes ago it took a right turn, and it looks to be latched onto some sort of boundary or something, but I'm not waiting anymore. I'm going to go east, I'm going to get this storm, and we'll see what it does. I want to keep my options in play today because the dry line down south here looks to be pretty ripe for lighting up with tornadic supercells closer to sunset. So I'm going to hit this storm. It's only 1:50 p.m. Central Time, so only 19Z, and we got plenty of time for tornadic supercells. My first one's right out to the window here.
Cam guidance remains suggestive that appreciable storm development across Kansas remains several hours in the future, late this afternoon. However, the most recent updraft development over Ellis and Trego counties appears robust. Potential for strong updraft rotation and associated tornado potential may warrant tornado watch issuance earlier than previously and.
So with the dry line on my mind about 70 miles to my southwest, I thought I'd take a little chance at being late to a storm that didn't exist yet, in order to give this storm a chance at the early play. Just 3 days ago, I had missed a good tornado because I had opted out of early storms to get in position for later development. Today I wasn't going to make that same mistake. I had a bird in the hand, and I knew I had time to play with the storm before having to get to the main target back to my southwest. The storm meant business, but it quickly became difficult to orient myself on the storm because it was continually ingesting new convection from its south. This made it hard for me to discern what exactly I was looking at, and more importantly, what I was underneath. The storm was chaotic, with lots of motion and a clear determination to create something nasty. So I decided to back off a bit in order to keep everything at a safe distance. The environment in play on this day was not one for close tornado intercepts, at least not for me. I started to see small funnels along the interface between the inflow and the outflow of the storm. In my experience, this is a really good indication that tornado genesis is all but imminent. And sure enough, just a few minutes later, it happened. Now, I have a quick confession to make, and that's that video isn't my priority when I'm out shooting tornadoes. It's still images. So while I'm taking some amazing images of the tornado forming, enjoy this focus twitching video where the tornado is developing behind a crack in my windshield. It's in the bottom left corner. Okay, that was worth it. I positioned myself south of the parent tornado just as it became heavily rain-wrapped. You can see that on the left side of the screen here. Now, normally I would try to get a better view by going to the northeast of the tornado to get around the rain, but the reason I didn't do this is lurking on the right side of the screen. A second circulation that I honestly believed could produce another tornado while the first was still on the ground. As the first tornadic circulation started to occlude, it started to move away from the new circulation, so I felt comfortable getting closer in order to get a better view from in between. And just as I did this, the eastern circulation produced this brief tornado that I barely got footage of before it dissipated. Even though the new tornado didn't last long, I was in good position shortly after to view the first tornado roping out in the rain. The storm started to become less organized, with multiple supercells kind of merging together and interfering with each other. I spent an hour or so driving back and forth to different areas of rotation as they would ramp up and down. A couple of them came very close to producing tornadoes, but none of them did. The entire time I had been keeping in mind where I wanted to be by 5 p.m., and it became clear that it was time to leave this storm in order to make it to the new storm I was expecting to form off the dry line.
Alright, so solid start to the day. So I was able to get 2, maybe 3 tornadoes. I think the third one may have been the first one emerging from the rain during the rope out phase. But beautiful tornadoes. But the storm just turned into an absolute grunge fest, and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get anything photogenic out of it anymore. So I've been driving back west for the last hour to my original target near Scott City, and there's a storm that just started going up about 30 minutes ahead of me, and it looks pretty good. I think this is going to be our storm for the rest of the night. It looks like we got a supercell going up to our west. It looks to be struggling though.
And as I got close to what I was hoping would be the storm of the day, it was clear that this storm was not going to do it. There were, however, some tornadic storms up on the Kansas-Nebraska border that I could maybe get in position on. I spent the remainder of the evening frantically bouncing back and forth between storms, hoping I could get on one just as it produced a tornado. There were supercells everywhere, but the tornadoes were done for the day, and all I got was some half-decent shelf cloud structure. That is, until I got to the storm near Oberlin, Kansas around sunset.
Freaking gorgeous. We're just gonna get past this.
The thing was beautiful, and I got under it just as the sun was setting. It posed very little tornado risk, but the layers of the storm billowing up into the upper atmosphere and lightning crawling up the side of the storm as the sun set behind it, it just blew my mind. I photographed this storm and other storms well into the night, with the sky just full of mini supercells and tons of lightning. Much like the rest of this season, this day with high expectations didn't go as planned, but this one was different than the several chase days prior. This day I played really aggressively. I didn't let storms go without at least trying to get under them, and it paid off. I saw a couple tornadoes and a half-dozen supercells, with one of them being particularly photogenic at sunset. It wasn't at all what I had expected for the day, but it was everything I could have hoped for in a good chase. Most importantly, I felt like I was getting out of my slump where I had missed a lot of good storms in the days leading up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.